The people I trusted chained me to an altar and told me my death would save the city. Then the thing beneath the stone whispered my name. Not the name my sect had given me. My real one. The one even I had forgotten. For 6 years, I served the Cindervale sect beneath the iron skyline of Vale Hollow. I cleaned forged shrines, carried soul coal, repaired cracked spirit conduits, and stood watch while senior disciples performed techniques I was forbidden to learn. They called me Ashborn because I had been found as a child beside a burned-out furnace with no family seal and no memory. I believed the sect had rescued me. That was the first lie. The second was that I had no talent. Every child in Vale Hollow was tested at 13. They placed one hand on a soul anvil and released a spark of spirit into the metal. The anvil rang for warriors. It glowed for artificers. It sang for true soul forgers. When I touched it, the entire chamber went silent. No ring. No glow. No song. The elders exchanged looks, then announced that my soul was hollow. A hollow could not cultivate. A hollow could not bind a weapon. A hollow could not survive direct contact with forge fire. So I became useful in smaller ways. I hauled coal while others meditated. I scrubbed bloodless ritual markings from temple floors. I stood beside furnaces hot enough to blister paint from the walls, yet somehow the heat never burned me. I should have questioned that. Instead, I was grateful. Gratitude is dangerous when someone else teaches you what you owe. The only person who treated me like more than a servant was Taran Voss, the sect master's son. We grew up together. He slipped me cultivation manuals when the elders were not watching. He taught me how to hold a practice blade. When disciples mocked me, he told them a sect was only as strong as the people carrying its burdens. I would have followed him anywhere. That was why, when he came to my room 3 nights before the eclipse furnace ceremony, I did not notice he would not meet my eyes. The city conduits are failing, he said. Rain rattled against the metal window shutters. Beyond them, Vale Hollow breathed smoke into a red-black sky. Again. Worse this time. 3 districts lost heat yesterday. The western soul grid is collapsing. I sat up on my narrow cot. Can the elders repair it? Taran looked toward the door before answering. There is a ritual. Those 4 words should have frightened me. Instead, I asked how I could help. He sat beside me and placed a hand on my shoulder. There is a chamber beneath the oldest forge. The sect founders built the city around it. Something is sealed below. Something powerful. A spirit. Older than a spirit. The records call it the first ember. I laughed because the alternative was believing him. The first ember was a children's myth. Supposedly, before humans learned to forge souls into weapons, something beneath the earth taught the first smith how to trap pain inside metal. Every weapon carried a fragment of that original sin. The seal is weakening, Taran continued. The elders believe it can be renewed during the eclipse. The pressure of his hand increased. But they need someone who can enter the chamber without igniting the wards. A hollow. The word passed between us without being spoken. For one stupid second, I felt proud. 6 years of being useless, and now there was finally something only I could do. Tell me what you need. Taran closed his eyes. I am sorry. The door opened behind him. 4 masked wardens rushed in. I reached for the knife beneath my pillow, but Taran caught my wrist. Not gently. The wardens forced me face down. Cold restraints locked around my arms. Someone pressed a cloth over my mouth, sharp with sleep incense. The last thing I saw was Taran standing over me. He looked sick. But he did not stop them. When I woke, I was chained to a black stone altar beneath the sect. The chamber was larger than the temple above it. Iron pillars descended into darkness. Chains thicker than my body vanished through cracks in the floor. Thousands of old soul seals covered the walls, each one flickering like a dying eye. Around the altar stood the people who had raised me. Sect Master Voss wore ceremonial armor made from layered furnace glass. Elder male held a silver ritual blade. The instructors who had taught me obedience formed a circle around the platform. Terran stood among them in white robes. He had washed his hands. I noticed that first. Why? My voice cracked from the incense. Sect Master Voss looked almost offended by the question. Because Vair Hollow must survive. You said I was entering the chamber. Terran flinched. His father did not. You are. Elder male lifted the ritual blade. Symbols along its edge began to glow. I pulled against the chains. You told me the ritual would renew the seal. It will, said the sect master. A hollow soul can absorb the first ember's corruption without feeding it power. Your death will reinforce the prison for another generation. There it was. My whole life reduced to a material property. Not a disciple. Not a brother. A container that could be broken safely. I looked at Terran. Did you know? He swallowed. The Western District has 40,000 people. That was not my question. His silence answered me. The elders began to chant. The seals brightened one by one. Beneath the altar, something moved. Not physically. The stone did not shake. The chains did not rattle. But the darkness below changed shape, like an enormous eye shifting behind a curtain. A low hum passed through my bones. The ritual blade touched my chest. Elder male whispered, "Forgive us." I spat in her face. She drove the blade down. There was no blood. There was light. White fire erupted through my ribs and poured into the altar. My memories ripped loose in fragments. The cold furnace where they found me. Terran sneaking bread into my room. The first time I carried coal until my hands split. The elders praising my loyalty. Every kindness sharpened into a hook. The altar drank everything. Then something below it drank back. A voice filled the chamber. Not through the air. Through every weapon in the room. The sect master's sword screamed. The warden's spears bent toward the floor. The ritual blade shattered in elder male's hand. And the voice spoke directly inside me. Ashbourne is not your name. The chains around my wrists became hot. My captors stepped back. I could feel their fear through the metal they carried. Their weapons knew what had awakened beneath them. The voice came again. You were not found beside the furnace. You were removed from it. Something opened inside my chest. Not a soul core. A door. Memory crashed through me. I saw a younger sect master Voss standing in the same chamber 20 years earlier. Beside him was a woman with black hair and burning gold eyes. She held an infant wrapped in forge cloth. Me. The woman was chained. The elders called her a vessel. They demanded she surrender the ember within her. She refused. So they took her child. They carved seals into my infant soul and used my emptiness to hide what they had stolen. The sect had not rescued me. They had made me hollow. The woman looked directly into the memory, as if she could see me watching from the future. When they bring you back, she whispered, do not let them decide what you become. The vision vanished. Sect Master Voss stared at me with naked horror. Impossible. The altar cracked beneath my back. If you want us to keep making more stories like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Azure Inkblade. Now, back to the chapter. Golden light spilled through the fracture. The thing below was not a beast. It was a forge. An ancient, living furnace bound beneath the city, built from black metal and something that pulsed like a heart. Countless human faces moved across its surface, not screaming, but sleeping. Every soul the sect had sacrificed was inside it. The first ember had never demanded offerings. It had been forced to hold them. The voice softened. They fed me the unwanted. the powerless, the inconvenient. They called it protection. The chain snapped. I stood on the broken altar while white-robed elders stumbled away from me. Gold fire wrapped around my arms, but it did not burn. For the first time in my life, I understood why the soul anvil had gone silent when I touched it. It had recognized something older than its own song. A translucent forge mark appeared before my eyes. Soul Forge interface awakened bearer recognized suppressed name restored, Jarek Emberbound legacy, first furnace airbound souls detected, 8412 primary command available release. The sect master drew his sword. Do not touch that command. His voice shook. I almost laughed. You sacrificed me. To save everyone above us. If those souls are released at once, the conduits will fail. Heat wards will collapse. Forge barriers will die. The city will burn. The chamber fell silent. That was the choice. Keep the dead trapped and preserve the city built from their suffering. Or free them and risk thousands of living people who never knew what powered their homes. Taryn stepped toward me. Jarek, listen. My father is guilty. The elders are guilty. But the children in the Western District are not. Marta at the market is not. The workers in the lower towers are not. He used my real name as if that repaired anything. You knew, I said. His face tightened. I knew you would die. I did not know what was below. Does that make it better? No. At least he did not lie again. The command waited in my vision. Release. 8412 souls pressed against the edges of my awareness. Some had been warriors. Some criminals. Some sick children. Some servants like me. They did not beg. That was worse. They had waited too long to believe anyone would choose them. I looked at Sect Master Voss. How long would the seal have lasted if I died? He said nothing. I turned to Elder Male. How long? Her eyes dropped. 7 years. Perhaps 8. Then they would have found someone else. Another hollow. Another unwanted child. Another necessary sacrifice. That was the machine they called tradition. I could save the city tonight and condemn someone else tomorrow. Or I could destroy everything at once and call it justice. Neither choice felt clean. So I chose a third. First Ember, I whispered. Can the souls be released slowly? The elders froze. The voice answered through every blade. Yes. Can the conduits draw from willing forgers instead? Yes. Sect Master Voss shouted, do not bargain with it. I ignored him. What would it cost? A new covenant. No soul taken without consent. No power without burden. No forge without witness. The interface changed. New covenant available. The living may sustain the city by sharing cultivated flame. The bound dead will be released over 9 nights. Required anchor, 1 living bearer. Warning, the anchor will experience every released memory. Taryn stared at the words. That could destroy you. You already decided my life was worth spending. He had no answer. I accepted the covenant. The world became fire. Not heat. Memory. 8,000 lives moved through me in a single breath. A mother hiding her child during a factory purge. A thief laughing on a rooftop. A guard regretting the order he followed. A young disciple realizing too late that loyalty and goodness were not the same thing. Pain bent me to my knees. But beneath it came something else. Names. The dead gave me their names. The chamber walls split open as golden script raced through every seal. Above us, the city's soul conduits flashed from blue to white. Across Vare Hollow, every registered soul forger received the same message. The city has been powered by the unwilling. The old covenant is broken. Choose share your flame or let the grid fall. The sect master lunged at me. Taryn intercepted him. Their blades collided once. Taryn's weapon shattered. His father raised his sword again. I closed my hand. Every stolen soul within the blade withdrew its strength. The weapon became ordinary metal. It dropped from the sect master's fingers. For the first time, he looked small. "You will destroy everything we built," he whispered. I stood, carrying thousands of memories behind my eyes. "You built it on people you thought no one would miss." The first ember opened beneath me. Gold fire climbed the pillars and raced upward through the sect foundations. No one burned. But every hidden ledger, sealed chamber, and ceremonial lie became visible in the flame. The truth spread faster than smoke. Above us, the city's forgers began to choose. Some refused. Some fled. Some placed their hands against household conduits and offered a thread of cultivated heat. One flame became 10. 10 became 1,000. The grid flickered. The western district went dark for 11 seconds. Then the lights returned. Dimmer than before. Honest for the first time. Taryn knelt beside me while the first bound soul rose from the furnace as a thread of gold. It passed through my chest and whispered a name. Sina Vale. Then it vanished upward. Another followed. Then another. I looked at Taryn. He had betrayed me. He had also turned his blade against his father. Was that redemption? I did not know. Maybe redemption was not something a guilty person could declare for themselves. Maybe it was work performed without any promise of forgiveness. "You are going to help expose every sect that uses sacrifice conduits," I told him. He nodded. "And after that? After that, I decide whether I ever want to see you again." Pain crossed his face. Good. Some pain was information. By sunrise, the Cindervale sect had fallen without a single tower collapsing. The elders were arrested by their own disciples. The old furnace halls opened. The names of the sacrificed were projected across every public screen in Vare Hollow. And for 9 nights, I stood before the first ember while the dead passed through me one by one. Each memory left a mark. Each mark became a new line of golden fire beneath my skin. People began calling me the Soul Warden. I hated the title. Wardens were the people who locked doors. I intended to open them. On the 9th night, the first ember spoke one final warning. The Cindervale sect was not the only one. Across the industrial kingdoms, deeper furnaces were waking. Some contained souls. Some contained gods. And some contained things that had never been human enough to forgive us. I climbed to the sect roof as dawn broke over Vare Hollow. Sirens echoed between the towers. Far beyond the city wall, columns of orange light rose into the clouds. One after another, ancient forge seals ignited across the horizon. And every roof had begun to burn. So here is the question I still cannot answer. If saving thousands today guarantees that someone innocent must be sacrificed tomorrow, is preserving the system mercy, or just cowardice with better numbers? To continue into the world of Soul Forge era, read the novel On Royal Road and follow Azure Inkblade on YouTube for more progression fantasy stories.